Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today's deck profile for you, we've got Wargreymon X, Wargreymon just being one of those like all-time fan favorite decks, and the X antibody version of it has really stepped this deck up to the next level. It has been kind of a roguish deck here and there, just Wargreymon in general, throughout the whole couple years that this game has been around. But really, X Antibody's taken this to like what its whole purpose, its a whole original design of just being like the original OTK deck, just like red, just built in security attack +1 everywhere. Really facilitates that exact concept and just embodies that whole thing in one deck. Don't forget our new memory marker this month is Gummymon, though. So if you're a Terriermon fan or just a Gummymon fan in general, this is a great memory marker to pick up. Or if you're a green player, also a fantastic memory marker. Also complements our Cocomon if you picked up our Cocomon as well. This is handmade out of clay by my wife, hand painted as well. Super, super cute. You can find this on our Etsy page, link in the description below. Also there you can find all of our previous memory markers that we've featured on the channel, as well as some of our Battle Ready Inc. merch. Alright, so I've got the whole deck pulled up for you guys, as always, so you can just kind of follow along and kind of see what the general premise is of what we're going for. If you'll notice, I do have 4 cards down here at the end that are just cards I want to talk about, because technically we have 3 spots at the end of the deck that we can fill with one of those cards. So one of these 4 will be put at a 3 of in the deck, and we're just going to kind of discuss, whatever your personal preference is. But the main cards here is 47, and this will be the main takeaway of the deck, I think. So we've changed some stuff up from how we had it in the feature match. Feature match had a little bit more draw power to it, but this is more like really punch heavy. We want to survive our security checks with Wargreymon X so we can get its deletion effect, as well as just survive security checks, all that kind of good stuff, as well as just lots and lots of security attack plus wherever we can fit it in. So for our babies, we've just got the 4 Koromon here because I don't really feel the need for a 5th egg in this deck. It's kind of similar to, other sorts of OTK style decks where you really realistically only ever build 2 stacks. The one stack that you try to OTK with, and then your fallback stack that if it doesn't work out, you got to build another one. So Koromon here just giving that 1000 DP buff to pretty much our entire list, Agumon and Greymon, which is pretty much everything except for the Omnimon at the end. So gives a nice big blanket to the whole thing. And the only reason we have the Omnimon in here is to blitz for game anyways. So you don't really need a DP buff on the Omnimon. For our first Agumon here, we've got the Searcher from BT9, just a fantastic include, just on play, reveal 3, add a Greymon and an Omnimon to hand. So our whole deck is Greymon themed, except for, of course, the other rookies. So if we have an Agumon on play, there's a good chance we've already got another Agumon anyway, so we're fine. And then we're just trying to dig for the rest of our pieces. And if we do happen to mill an Omnimon at the same time, we can go ahead and pick it up as well. So that's a really nice one. Next up, we do have the promo Agumon, just gives that 2000 DP buff to all of our Greymon. If you don't want to invest in this guy, you can still just use the old school starter deck Agumon that gives that 1000 DP buff instead. Just the 2000 because the whole deck is Greymon anyway. So yeah, I'll use this one over the starter deck one. Just kind of makes a little bit more sense. And it just kind of stacks up all of our DP buffs even more and more. First, for our very first X antibody here, we've got the Agumon, of course. 0 Evo on top of your other Agumons. This is always just nice. If you want to just Evo this in Raising Area just for that extra draw is totally okay, as well as it doubles up on your level 3s. So we can use stuff like our Greymon X antibody inheritable as well. So on play or when digivolving. So say you do that on play Agumon search, then you can Evo this guy right on top of that Agumon and get its when digivolving effect of reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and 1 X antibody option among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards in the bottom of the deck. So basically we just instantly do what we just did. So we hard play Agumon search, Evo into this guy for a 0, do pretty much the exact same search just about all over again. Very, very efficient. I really, really like it a lot, actually. Next, we got the starter deck 1 Greymon. You can't get away from this guy. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you haven't got these, if you're a red player, keep an eye on the market for these guys. Like when they dip down a little bit, go ahead and pick them up. They do go up and down quite often. Just something to keep an eye on. We should be getting reprints, I believe, in BT10, but that's not till October. So unfortunately, the deck that it was supposed to get reprinted in got nixed. It was the the Gamamon starter deck. Was full of reprints, and they ended up getting rid of it. So until we get more reprints of this guy, you just kind of have to bite the bullet, I guess. But security tank +1, level 4. I mean, no stipulation. You just get security tank +1. There's no weird little tricks you got to do or certain requirements. You just get it. It's just a really nice generic red card. I mean, it's always been one of those cards that's included in pretty much every red deck ever, just about. To complement it for our 3 ofs for our level 4s, because typically our ratios are 12, 11, it's 12 to 14, and then usually pretty much 11, 8 or 9 level 5s, and 6 level 6s. So for our 3 ofs on our level 4 here, we've got the when digivolving, if this Digimon has Agumon in its Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory. So essentially it's basically a 1-cost Evo. Sometimes that comes up. Most of the time when you're Evoing this guy, you're Evoing in raising area, and it's only if you don't have the starter deck Greymon. This is just a backup. There's not really a whole lot of other good Greymons. There's some out there that are fine, but this one having a little bit more versatility, I don't mind too much. You could also run the maybe the security attack one, the security one that plays out of security if you want. That's Geo Greymon, I believe, so it's not quite the same. But yeah, so this one's still solid though. Inheritable gives that 2000 DP buff to all of our Greymons and our Omnimon as well. So again, more DP buffs, really beefing up this X antibody. Putting him at 17,000 is clearing pretty much everything in the game. So with just the level 4s and below, you've got plenty of DP buffs going on there to handle anything you might need. And then to complement our Greymons, of course, we have the X antibody one, 0 Evo, just like the Agumon. As long as you're Evo on top of its other levels counterpart, it's 0. You get a free draw. Very efficient. Makes the deck go round. Not much else to say. If you don't know about X antibody mechanics at this point, dang. I can't believe you're watching this video. Inheritable, though. This Inheritable is really nice. All turns when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and an effect would delete it or return it to the hand or deck. All 3 of those. So great. It dodges Cocytus. It dodges stuff like Terror Clusters, everything. You may trash 2 cards from the same level in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent it from leaving play. And so what I really like about this guy is you don't need a delicate plan. Basically, this is your way to dodge delicate plan. Yeah, a delicate plan can dodge a couple more things, stuff like chaos degradation, hammer spark, ice wall, all that stuff. You know, the non-removal ones. That can dodge those, but really you're more focused on the deletion effects. So this Greymon just having it built in is fantastic. Basically, just about a watered down a delicate plan. Really nice. When you don't want to swing with the Wargreymon here and you want to go into the Wargreymon X, this one is a good supplement. If you don't have the X antibody for whatever reason, you can just swing with this one. But if you do have this one, then definitely want to go into that Wargreymon X and just rely on the Greymon X antibody Inheritable to keep you alive. For our level 5s here, I love this card so much. It is definitely my go-to Metal Greymon in every scenario. If you've played Black Wargreymon or Guilemon, you know the power of this card. It's just so good. I mean, literally, Alphamon wishes it had an effect that de-digivolve effect is good. When digivolving, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So you don't even have to delete the thing you did de-digivolve. If you de-digivolve like a Mega into a level 5, you can then pop a level 3 that's somewhere else on the field that's at 3000 DP or less. So just really nice versatility in this card. Yeah, 4 Evo is a bit much. It is a little unfortunate, but the trade-off is so powerful. It's such a very, very fantastic card. I really do love it. I do understand, though, that the 4 Evo cost is a bit much. If you don't want to go for that, you can go for something else. This Inheritable, though, is also really, really amazing. While this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits, it can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So in those really, hardcore situations where I can't win, but if I can clear your field, I can win next turn. So you go ahead and clear their field with stuff, something like this. Very solid. But again, if you don't want to use this guy, you want to use like a 3-cost Metal Greymon, totally understandable. Then you can Evo that, and then with a memory fixer, and then go straight into a X antibody or your Altarius mode here for 0. It works out. So speaking of, we've got the Metal Greymon X antibody. So again, 0 Evo on top of its counterpart. Or 3 normally, but when Digivolving, this Digimon gains security attack +1, just like flat out until the end of your opponent's turn, which is really weird. Until the end of the opponent's turn, like I don't know why you would need security attack +1 on your opponent's turn, but hey, that's what it says. So then if this Digimon has Metal Greymon or the X antibody option in its Digivolution cards, this Digimon gets +3000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. So if you say you've got the security attack +1 Greymon, you're missing out on the 2000 DP from that other level 4 Greymon. This is a really good way to make up for that. It's just absolutely just a like super good card. Really like this one just because 0 Evo, boom, I get a 3k buff, a security attack +1. Like we're really going in for some ham OTK strategies on that. But I do think that the make sure I didn't miss an inheritable. I do also wanted to mention the Metal Greymon Altarius mode is also very good. So again, 0 Evo on top of your Metal Greymons, great mechanic there. It's also treated as a Metal Greymon. When Digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5000 DP or less. So say your opponent has like some sort of blocker out there, and you're like, well, there's no point in going into the X antibody and gaining security attack +1. They have a blocker. They're just going to block me, and I'm not going to be able to get past it. If you're not running the piercing, then you can go Altarius mode and just pop that blocker, and then call it a day, and then do your swing afterwards with your Mega. So I like it just in here for the versatility, feels really good. Also has the inheritable of if an effect would delete this Digimon with a Greymon or Omnimon in its name, or return it to its owner's hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving the play by discarding 2 cards of the same level, yada yada yada. It's the same as the level 4. So I just think it's a really neat, like, something to look at. I don't know what the correct call is. Like level 4 and below, like those all feel like, yeah, absolutely, these are the ones you run. These are the rookies, these are the level 4s. When it comes to the level 5s though, you can get really kind of creative with it. If you want to go like 3, 3, and 3, you could do that, of whichever one you prefer. If you want Metal Greymon X, or if you want Altarius mode for your secondary level 5, right? If you want to go with the piercing Metal Greymon instead from EX1, that works out too. For our Greymons, though, or our Wargreymons, I should say, I just love the BT9 Wargreymon. It's always done really well for me. There are other Wargreymons out there. A big problem I kept having, though, is a lot of them are 4 Evo, and that 4 Evo just kind of kills it for me. I really want a Wargreymon that's 3 Evo, and that's like stipulation number 1, because I'm going to have my level 5, and then I'm going to go have my memory fixer, go into Wargreymon for 3 Evo, put myself at 0, use the X antibody option, swing with Wargreymon, and then X antibody Evo into Wargreymon X. Okay, and that's the general premise of the strategies. And so I really need a Wargreymon that's 3 Evo. And so yeah, that's why I was went for this one mostly. Also gives, when Digivolving, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. So even if you Evo Wargreymon X on top of this, you still keep that security attack +1 from this guy's Evo for the turn. So that's very important that you keep that security attack +1. That was a big selling point for me. But also, it still has the great effect of your turn, this Digimon doesn't activate security skills on option cards it checks. That's just a fantastic card. Really, really great. Love this Wargreymon. If you don't want to go into Wargreymon X, especially if you're playing like security control and you know they're going to have tons of crazy options in there, just swing with this Wargreymon and don't worry about going into the X antibody, just because this one's going to put in a lot more work for you against those decks. But if you're not playing that against those kind of decks, yeah, absolutely go into your X antibody on that swing. Speaking of, 1 Evo cost, Wargreymon here, or you can go 4 Evo cost. If you want to swing with your level 5 and then X antibody option Evo into this guy, you can do that as well for 4 Evo. It's a little bit more expensive, but you know, it still gets the point across. You still Evo, you still get your security checks. All turns when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, gain 1 memory, so you can potentially gain enough memory back to keep it on your turn, which is very, very important for like our Blitz Omnimon. So if you can get enough security checks with this guy mid-swing, bring it back to your turn. That's very, very strong. We'll talk about some of the build-up that we can do here in just a second. But he also has end of attack once per turn. If Wargreymon or X antibody option is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. That's a big reason we run so much like DP increasing abilities here. So we got the Koromon, the Agumon, the Greymon here. The X antibody also giving us a DP buff. Like all these different things giving us that DP buff. Really important. I don't want to run Hero because I really want to run the tie for that security attack plus. And we have enough like just blanket like DP increases in this deck that I don't feel the need that Hero is even necessary in this. I mean, because you've got 1, 3, 5, 8, 8,000 DP. You're putting your Wargreymon X up to 20,000, okay, potentially with this, with just the regular Evo. Like you don't even have to get like too crazy with it. You can be up to 8,000 DP, just absolutely massive. You're deleting anything you want to delete with this guy, and he'll definitely be surviving security, that's for sure. So yeah, fantastic card. Really, really makes this deck like a thing, and I'm so happy to see Wargreymon like in this kind of position now. And I do have the 2 Blitz Omnimon just for obvious reasons. You want to blitz for game, pretty self-explanatory. We got the 2 copies of X antibody option, just to be able to place this underneath, give it the inheritable of when attacking, if this Digimon can digivolve into a golly, I can words. When attacking, this Digimon can digivolve into a Digimon card with X antibody in its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. It doesn't have to be an X antibody attacking, okay? You don't have to swing with Metal Greymon X and then Evo into Wargreymon X, okay? It doesn't have to work like that. You can go regular into the X. You just have to go into the X, and that's the really important part. Also, security, gain 1 memory. Pretty fantastic ability there. Always solid, like a little mini Hammer Spark. And it goes to your hand, which is very, very important as well. For our memory fixer, I went with Tai. Yeah, you could go with Marcus. You could go with Hero. But just the security attack +1 makes so much sense for me in this particular deck. Wargreymon X wanting to get tons of security checks to gain all that memory back, and just that absolutely helps with that OTK strategy. So Tai giving us security attack +1, Greymon giving us security attack +2. Then you've got Metal Greymon X giving us security attack +3, and then finally Wargreymon giving us security attack +4, and then you, of course, that +4 goes onto your regular hit. So that's 5 security we're clearing with Wargreymons. Okay, whether that you're doing it with the regular level 6 or you're doing it with the Wargreymon X, either way, it's 5 security checks. Clear your opponent's security, and then Blitz Omnimon for game, okay? It is still an OTK deck with a little bit more versatility. It's got some really nice just abilities kind of sprinkled out throughout the whole thing. Metal Greymon is fantastic. Just the Wargreymon being able to turn off options, like, you know, Grandis wishes it could do that, turn off option cards. All these inheritables that allow us to survive option cards. Gaining memory back after we get the hit in is fantastic. And then deleting something, like, really, Grandis wishes it could do as much as this deck can. Really, really great stuff. And then, of course, we got the Cool Boys in here just to complement the deck. It's just another searcher for us, but reveal 3, add 1 Digimon card with X antibody in its traits. So, you know, you can get pretty much anything from your entire Evo chain off of this guy, a rookie, a level 4, level 5, or your level 6s. He is kind of if you're going to run him, though, you might want to run just the Metal Greymon X antibody, though, and not the Alterius mode. just because Cool Boy really complements the X antibody version more. And then when one of your Digimon digivolves into a same level Digimon with X antibody in its traits, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory and draw 1 card. That gain 1 memory is actually pretty huge. You can actually make some really like extended plays with that. Say you've got your level 4, you can go into your Greymon X, suspend Cool Boy, gain a memory. That puts you at 4. Say you've got Ty on field, you're at 4 now. Then you can go into Metal Greymon for 4 Evo, still be on your turn. Then set up all these great plays for sure. Cool Boy's fantastic, and that's the main part of the deck. In the last just couple cards I want to talk about, one of these you're going to pick and then run it at 3 of. So we've got red memory boost here just to help you keep that consistency. Reveal 4, add any red Digimon you want, and then that delay gain 2 for those really big pushes for end of game. Super powerful, just a really fantastic consistency card. But I think that this deck could use a little bit more removal. If you can't get that OTK off, you need to like slow your opponent down a little bit, and I think just a couple removal cards is probably the way to go. So these are the ones we can look at here. We've got Atomic Megalo Blaster, which is pretty cool, introduced in BT9. 6 play cost, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose DP adds up to 10,000 or less and delete them. Really, really great. You can delete one big thing or a ton of little things, whatever floats your boat. Crimson Blaze, though, is still super strong. Delete all your opponent's Digimon of 6,000 EP or less. Your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of their next turn. Like, that can come up, too, because, like, there's, like, D-Reaper plays stuff by effects. Mastamon plays stuff by effects. There's lots of things out there that can, you can stop with this, but also reduce the memory cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each Digimon your opponent has in play. Like, this thing can get super cheap. As a red-yellow player, I have abused the crap out of this card and played it for like 2 or 1 and just did like a massive board clear. Super, super powerful card. But I think there's still room to talk for Gaia Force. Gaia Force just being able to handle all those the OTK decks that are out there. Grandis, it just absolutely slaughters Grandis. Can hit Alphamon really, really hard if they don't have their Wargreymon protection going on, and with that card getting limited to 1 on the ban list, then even more of a reason that Gaia Force is even more powerful and can hit way more decks. Just a really good all-around card. I mean, there's been plenty of games where it's been my turn and I'm like, I'm just gonna hard play this Gaia Force and clear your big body, and I know you have nothing that you can do after that. Also, D-Reaper hates this card. You can absolutely slaughter Reaper with it, and just they're just toast after that. So yeah, pick any one of these guys, whatever one of all those that we just talked about sounds the best, and then just run 3 of those. I think that's a pretty solid way to go about it. But this is the main part of the deck here. I do think the Metal Greymon X is probably the better choice than the Altarius mode if you're going to be running the Cool Boy, just so you can make sure you can get all the Cool Boy triggers that you want. Kind of important, as well as the security attack +1. I think is pretty important as well.